Hi friends, and welcome back to 4 Acre Homestead. My name is Jennifer, and today we are going to be doing another canning project in the kitchen. We are going to be canning some Mandarin oranges. I got these for a great deal at our local store, and I think they were $2 a bag, which is, with food prices right now, a crazy deal. So I grabbed 3 bags of these, and I know we will not eat all of these before they go bad in the fridge. So my plan is to can them, and we'll put them in probably a medium or a light syrup. I haven't decided which yet. And then it'll be just like the fruit cups that you can get at the store. So my kids love the orange fruit cups, and they are super expensive. I think they're like $4 now for a pack of 4 little cups. This is gonna make so many more oranges for them, and it can last us up to 2 years. It won't last that long on our shelf, but it could last up to 2 years. So we're gonna preserve these today and get them on our shelf. There are a couple of different ways that we can go about canning the Mandarin oranges. The way I've chosen is to go ahead and peel all the oranges, put them in the jars, and then I'm gonna create a simple syrup on the stove and then pour that hot syrup over the oranges in the jars. So because I'm doing that, if something hot is going into my jar, I wanna make sure the jars are already getting warm on the stove. So that's what we have going on right here. So I just have my jars. I think we'll probably get about 8 pints out of it. And they're just gonna get warm while we peel the oranges and take care of all of that. The first thing that we want to do is we're going to go ahead and peel all of these oranges. So I'm just gonna sit down, start peeling away. Like I said, we have 9 pounds of oranges to get through. I'm going to go ahead and put all my orange segments in here, and then do not discard the orange peels. We're gonna put them in a separate bowl, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with those later. But do not get rid of those. So let's start peeling oranges. So here we have the oranges, and I do want to make sure that we remove any of these stickers. We don't need to save any of those, but we do want to save the peels. And I'll show you on this one how we're going to segment it out. And actually, let's probably switch these bowls around. And we're going to try to get bigger chunks of the peel, but it doesn't really matter. The only thing that we want to be sure of is we want to remove as much of this pith that we can. So all this white stuff, we want to get as much of that off as we can, because that's going to create a very bitter orange, and our kids are not going to like that very much. So we're just going to try to remove and peel off as much of that we can. It'd be a great time to put on your favorite podcast, or you could put on another YouTube channel. I do that a lot when I am cooking dinner. I will usually watch somebody else on YouTube, get caught up for the day. It's my time to kind of catch up on YouTube shows and cook dinner and get things done all at the same time. Or this would be a great time to put on a devotional. Just relax, get comfy, because this part is gonna take the longest. So once we have that off, we're gonna just break this up into segments, and you'll see we can even take more of this out. Now, I'm gonna choose to can these in little pieces, just like you would get in the store, little cups. You could also leave these completely whole, or you could can them in half. You could just split this in half and then can them that way. But I'm gonna do little tiny segments like this, and we're gonna drop them in our bowl, and we're just gonna keep doing that. This way I can get even more off, and it'll be, I think the segments, like I said, will be a little bit closer to what my children prefer to eat out of the little cups. And this is a way healthier alternative to those cups, because I at least know what's going in them. It's 3 ingredients if you count the water. So oranges, a little bit of sugar, and some water. Okay, so here we have all of our oranges peeled and ready to go. We're gonna put these to the side, and then we're gonna work on our next step, which is going to be to create our simple syrup. For the syrup, I'm gonna do a medium syrup, and so I'm just gonna go off of what the Ball Canning book says, and we're gonna put in 5 cups of water and 3 1/4 cups of sugar. And we're just going to, I believe, bring that to a boil until the sugar melts. You could also use honey if you didn't want to use sugar, and that would just be 4 cups of water to 1 cup of honey if you'd rather use honey instead of sugar. So let's get that on the stove. This looks pretty much perfect. It's completely dissolved. It's about to come up to a full boil, so I'm gonna turn this all the way down to very low just to keep this warm while we put our oranges into the jars. And just be very careful with this because it is really hot with the sugar and water mixed. Now we're just going to carefully fill our jars tightly with our orange segments. We want to make sure we get as many in there as we can. And we're going to leave a 1/2 inch headspace on this. Now that our jars are full of the oranges, I'm just going to ladle in here the syrup that we made on the stove. Again, leaving that 1/2 inch headspace. The syrup I made only made enough for 7 of our jars. So I'm gonna go ahead and make up another batch, just half the amount of the first batch I made. I'm gonna go ahead and process the 7 that we have here done, so I can have those going in the canner while I make some more of the simple syrup. So all I'm gonna do is put the lids on, put the rings on, fingertip tight, and then we're going to process them for 15 minutes for my elevation. So if you're under 1,000 feet for elevation, you'll do 10 minutes, and then if you are over that, I believe up to 6,000 feet, it's 15 minutes processing time, but double check that if you're higher than Ours is 1,300 feet, so if you're higher, just double check that time. But it should be 15 minutes. Here I am just filling up those remaining 3 jars that we had with that extra simple syrup, and then I'm going to go ahead and use a chopstick and just push out as many air bubbles as I can, and then if I need to add any more syrup to get to the 1/2 inch headspace, I will add it as well. Our first batch of oranges are done. I let them sit in the canner once I had turned it down and took the lid off for about 5 minutes. And I'm just gonna get these all pulled out, and then I'm going to put in those extra 3 we made. Now we're going to use up those orange peels that I had told you to keep. So all we need for this is white vinegar, a clean jar. This is just an old spaghetti jar I had cleaned out, and some orange peels. Alright, the first step is going to be to put as many of these peels as we can into the jar. I'm even going to grab a little butter knife. You can use a chopstick, something that you can kind of press all the peels down. You want to get as many of the orange peels as we can to this jar so it's nice and tightly packed. Now we're just going to top the jar with the vinegar. You just want to make sure that all of the peels are covered with the vinegar. And then this can just sit on your counter. It's a great everyday cleaner, and I will use this with a rag and just kind of wipe down the countertops. And it's another way to use up the oranges that we would have just otherwise thrown away. So it's a great second product that was practically free. Alright, so we ended up with 10 pint jars of our canned Mandarin oranges and 1 large jar of the orange peel vinegar that we made. I hope that you guys will give this one a try. It's super easy and simple to make. And thank you guys for watching. I will put a link for another video where we did canned apples if you're interested in that. And I hope you guys have a great day.